And this is the number one guideline, that a man leave his father and mother and become joined to his wife, that they become as one flesh. And then the next verse, verse 33, it's only one verse, but it has so much in it. It says, nevertheless, I tell you in particular that every man should so love his wife as himself. Now, earlier in the chapter it says, no man hated his own flesh, but it nourishes the flesh. That's what the husband is to do to his wife. He's to cherish and he's to nourish her. So nevertheless, I tell you in particular that every one of you so love his wife as himself. And then the last part of the verse says, but the wife, see that she reverence her husband. One lady said to me, I don't know what reverence means. What does reverence mean? I will show you what reverence means. The Bible doesn't say, wives, love your husbands, because women love. They just love. That's what they do. It comes so naturally. They are the nurturers. And one man who was going through counselling, the counsellor said, do you tell your wife that you love her? And he said, well, of course I love her. I don't have to tell her that. Of course I love her. She has a house. She has food on the table. She's got a good car. Of course I love her. But you know what does God say? He says, husbands, love. Love, be tender, cherish and nourish your wife. Tell her that you love her. Yes, sorry, every day. Every day. Tell her that you love her. It's very hard for some men, though, and we'll explore that. And one of the reasons why it's hard is because the wife does not reverence her husband. And often the wife does not know what that means, or she does not know how to do it. So we're going to go over to Colossians. Colossians chapter 3, we're looking at verse 18, 19, 20 and 21. And it says there, wives, submit yourself to your husbands. And then the next verse says, husbands, love your wives. So there it is again. Love your wives and submit. Now, a lot of concentration has been done on wives, you must submit to your husband. I'd like to suggest that it is easy for a woman to submit to her husband when he loves and he nourishes and he cherishes her. And it is so easy for a man to love his wife when she reverences and submits to him. The next verse says, children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. And then the next verse says, fathers, provoke not your children to anger. And if you go back to Ephesians, you'll almost find the same order. But in Ephesians it says, husbands, so love your wives as yourself. And then it says, wives, reverence your husbands. And then it says, children, obey your parents in the Lord. And then the next verse again says, fathers, provoke not your children to wrath. Interesting when you look at the progression of the advice. Interesting when you have a look at the meanings behind all of these. So I'd like to go back to women, reverence your husbands. How would a woman be irreverent or disrespectful to her husband? She would be disrespectful when she speaks against him in front of other people, when she continually interrupts. Maybe he's telling a story, maybe he's describing something, and she says, no, it wasn't like that. No, that's not quite right. No, that. And if you have a look at the husband when this is happening, you see in the husband an irritation happening. It can also happen when the husband is reprimanding his children or pulling them into line, so to speak, and the wife comes in and says, no, that's too harsh. No, that's not fair. No, they didn't mean it. No, that's being irreverent to your husband. And then you might say, well, what if he is wrong? What if he is being unreasonable? That's when the wife may say to her husband, sweetheart, can we talk for a minute, please? In the other room. And if he says, no, I'm dealing with this, what the wife does then is she walks into the other room. She goes out. If she doesn't like what's happening, she hangs the washing on the line. I don't think you do that here in the America. Maybe she goes and waters the garden. but she leaves it because not now. In fact, a child can cope with getting reprimanded for something they didn't do far better than they can cope with mum and dad fighting in front. And he's thinking, who's going to win? Is dad going to win and then I'll be punished, or is mum going to win and I'm going to get let off? And it is incredibly damaging for children when the parents don't present as one flesh. That's why it is a great mystery, and that's why that's the first thing that is talked about. For this cause shall a father leave, or the man shall leave his father and his mother and be joined unto his wife. Joined in the way that they are dealing with the children